Hey everybody, this is Mike Bono from the North Andover Athletic Association, and you are listening to the Nightly News Podcast, the show that brings you inside the lines of North Andover High School athletics. Hello everyone, welcome to the latest Nightly News Podcast. This is Ala Purdy with Dave Brown. This week's special guest, Jessalyn Devaney from North Andover High School. She's the girls varsity basketball coach. Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hi. You're welcome. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you played high school, where you grew up, where you went from high school, etc.?
Sure, yeah. Basketball has been a part of my life for quite some time. Prior to that, I might have dabbled in baton twirling, but we can save that for a future podcast. But I played high school basketball at Westford Academy. I was a Gray Ghost. Following my high school playing days, I was lucky enough to receive a full scholarship to Boston College. I played at BC my 4 years, and then I proceeded to play professional overseas in Iceland and in Turkey. And then after that, I retired and went on to pursue a master's in social work, and that's where I am now.
So Iceland and Turkey, tell us a little bit about that.
Sure, yeah, it was a wonderful experience to be able to play basketball and get paid for something you would really enjoy doing. I started over in Iceland. What a beautiful place that is. I can't wait to go back as, an adult, with my family. I only stayed there for about a month and a half, and then I proceeded to land, I'd like to call it maybe a quote-unquote better job in Turkey, where I played alongside and against some WNBA players. So it was a much higher level in Turkey in their first division over there, and made it as an all-star over there. And and that was a whole different environment and culture to become acquainted with, and I just was so grateful for that. Aside from getting paid for it, it was awesome to just be somewhere different and live somewhere new. Yeah.
Who have you played with that people might recognize?
Play against Diana Taurasi. At BC we were able to obviously play in the Big East. I was my last year at Boston College was the last year that BC was in the Big East, and I just loved being a part of that conference. So we played the UConns. So Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird. Those were probably the most notable. We did beat them in the Big East tournament, and we got to cut down the nets there at UConn. So that was probably a highlight of my career.
Back then, anybody beating UConn?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was an awesome experience. So,
how many years were you pro?
I only played 1 year. I came back and then I tried out for the WNBA free agent camp. I wasn't selected, so then that's when I had to kind of do some soul searching, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready to move on. I had a pretty serious injury. I tore my Achilles my senior year of college, so that really set me back big time. I was told that I was going to be considered for a spot in one of the WNBA teams from the draft, but unfortunately I was dealing with that, and they couldn't trust that I was going to be rehabbed, and I wasn't high enough for them to take me no matter what. So it wasn't meant to be, and I'm just so grateful for the path that basketball has allowed me to take, and now I'm pursuing a whole nother part of it and coaching, and we can get to it, but I have 2 young daughters, and just watching them develop in kind of the youth athletic program and helping them through that, it's come full circle, so it's very cool.
Where did you start with coaching?
While I was at BC getting my master's in social work, I helped out at a local program where I did some individual coaching, and I started with like a little AAU there, and then I became a ref, and I made it to actually the D2 college level as a referee, and then wanted to have a family, and so traveling was like a whole lot when I was trying to have a family. So I decided to then kind of put that in the back burner. And then I actually was an assistant to E.J. Perry at Andover in the year of Alyssa Casey, and we made it pretty far. I was grateful to have that opportunity to coach a high-level program like that. And then 2 years after that, I started at North Andover. So
great.
Yeah.
So Coach Tanglis, for those of you that have listened to this podcast, we do a couple back-to-back. So Coach Stanglis was in here. We talked a little bit about just the challenges of the MVC. I mean, it's a bear in every sport. How do you kind of, he liked the part of it that his team's battle tested by the time the states roll around, because
absolutely,
from 1 to 10 or 11 you're playing good teams almost every week.
Absolutely, and I would have to fully agree with that. I think for me, no matter what, I like to play a high level of competition. For the MVC specifically, every single game you go out there and you're facing tough competition from the bottom to the top. Even the lower level teams that, might be struggling with numbers or whatnot, you still have to go out there and make sure you're doing what you need to do as a team in order to make sure you get that W. But like you said, setting you up for even higher success at the end of the year, and especially now with the whole change in the power rankings and how you're seated in the postseason tournament, it's really important to play great competition. And being in the top division in the MVC, we play Central twice, we play Andover twice, we play Chelmsford twice, so we get that high level of competition. And then I like to have a strong non-league schedule as well. We're playing St. Mary's, who is good every single year. They're sending 3 kids next year to a high-level collegiate, 3 different collegiate programs. We're playing Lincoln Sudbury, who's off on their own now, but a good program as well. So I like to play against top competition, and the MVC definitely gives us that.
How are the numbers looking for the team this year?
Yeah, pretty good. We have 8 returners to the varsity.
Wow.
And they're all kiddos that have been playing all summer, all fall, and really, really kind of coming together as a tight knit group, which is really important. And then we have some other kids that are coming up through the JV level, and then we have a good number of freshmen, and that's where we build our foundation in the program, right? Is that younger group of kiddos, middle school freshmen, that we really want a part of our program. And I love to see that we have a good number of freshmen this year. So I'm hoping that we can have those 3 teams this year, because we haven't the past couple years, which has been disappointing. But at the same time, it ebbs and flows in terms of a program, and we're hoping that we're kind of going on that high level here of being able to field the 3 teams.
Right,
yeah.
Right. So I think both our daughters played freshman basketball, and and so I was really surprised to hear last year that there wasn't a team.
Yeah, it's been the past couple years.
Yeah, a couple years.
COVID really impacted, I think, the ability or the desire or we were wearing we were wearing masks last year.
Oh, I know.
We were wearing masks. It was hard to remember, but we were.
And referees too.
With the hand whistles. I mean, it was a whole change.
Yeah, for the listeners, I'm a basketball referee, and I'll tell you that the hand whistles were the pits.
Yeah.
You train. Yeah. You're used to a certain way of doing things.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't know what to do, right? No. It's crazy.
Yeah, and they're not as loud either.
And they're not.
So,
no, they're not. And they really aren't. And the timing is wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're used to, so anyway. Yeah. That was tough on everybody.
Yes.
You touched on the middle school.
Yeah.
So, I think anybody who listens to our podcast, one of us always asks this question.
Sure.
What do you tell the 6th, 7th, 8th grader, that wants to play varsity at some point? What do you want? What are you looking for in that kid? What are you hoping they do for the next year or 2 or 3? Yeah,
so I am a big believer in what I like to term intangibles. And that is something that goes hand in hand with being able to dribble and being able to shoot the ball. That's a must. Like you got to learn those skills, right? And hopefully with a kind of strong foundation coming up from elementary, the youth programming, and you're getting involved in whether it's travel or town basketball, you're getting on the court. But the intangibles are something that I find so important. And those are the things that you can't touch. And it's about attitude and character and how you carry yourself on the court, your work ethic, your determination, all of those kind of those mental aspects of the game. And you need to really know that you got to be a good teammate, and to be a good teammate, you need to possess those intangibles. And so I stress for kiddos to go out, dribble the ball outside. You don't have to have a gym to be able to practice ball handling. You don't even have to have a gym to practice your follow through. You can lay down in your bed and practice, so you got to work on the skills. But for those 6th, 7th, 8th graders and even younger, I want you to learn to be a good teammate. I want you to put the effort in, to understand that winning is not everything, but it's going to be a byproduct of all of that effort that you put in. So, and being a part of the varsity team is going to be a byproduct of all of that work that you put in. So, yeah.
Great answer.
Yeah.
I'm the coach who used to hold outdoor practices in
There you
November
go.
because we couldn't get gyms.
Yeah.
You know what? People showed up.
Yeah.
You
if you really wanted
if
to.
you really want to play.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
I spent hours and hours in my backyard. It was an ugly basketball hoop. It was like a Shaquille O'Neal, like small little hoop with like a ripped net, but like that's what I did. And my brother's 11 years older than me, and he used to like not hold back on going hard, right? But I attribute a lot of my success to him, for many reasons. But one is like he didn't back down on me, and I didn't back down on him either.
No, of course not.
but it was I got out there and did it outside of practice time.
Right.
Yeah.
We were talking about that with Coach Tanglis too. It's hard these days with kids to get them to for any sport to put in just to play and do it informally.
Yes.
And, just because it's not a practice doesn't mean you can't go out. I mean, even with my own children, I struggled to get them to do that. And honestly, I thought it was harder. Could get a little bit of success with my son, but with my daughters, they look at me like, "What? You want me to go out and play catch? You want me to go out and shoot a bat?" Yes. and not always with me.
Yeah, no.
Right? I mean, I'll do it, but you got to
get a friend, a neighbor, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's not part of today's young people.
It really isn't. It really isn't. I have a 10-year-old daughter, Zoe, and an 8-year-old daughter, Myra, and Zoe's really into basketball. But we're still trying to encourage her and her friend, a neighbor who's in a 6th grade travel team, like, go up to the park. You have, it's right up the street. Go ahead. Like, we're letting you go. Get up there. Go shoot around.
It's funny, and I wonder, we're a little older than you, and we lament it, but did we do it? I grew up in Lawrence. I grew up on the north side of Lawrence, and my best friend in 5th grade moved from North Lawrence to South Lawrence. So that summer, pretty much, I would get up in the morning and ride my bike across the city of Lawrence at 10 or 11 years old to go hang out with my friend. My daughter went 2 blocks up the first time on a bike at 9 years old. It was call us when you get there, call us when you're coming home, and check in the middle.
Yeah, right.
And as much as we lament it, we're kind of fostering it a little bit, I think. Yeah. So it's tough, but that's that's a story for another day. One thing I know, I asked Lisa Rassinen in soccer, and with so many kids playing AAU, with AAU being such a dominant aspect of sports and basketball especially, it seems. Sure. How do you deal? Do you have any problem with my AAU just doesn't want me doing that, or didn't teach me that way, or that's not what we do? How do you deal with that? Does that come up much?
I can't say it comes up that much. I think that where we see some impact is kids that are playing other sports and still want to maybe take part in some of their club activities or off-season activities that then kind of interfere a bit maybe with practice times, or if like we're playing on a weekend day that we don't usually, and so there is some impact there. I'd like to say that I have created a program where the kids, and this is my 5th year in this program, that I think the kids know what to expect from me, and I'm very clear with my expectations of everybody's at practice, everybody's at the games, especially at the varsity level. Sure. Obviously at the freshman and JV level, if there are some other things going on, totally fine, and we can work through that. But the expectation is that when we're in season, that is your school program is number one.
Sure.
Should be that way.
Yeah.
What about the on-court stuff?
I really haven't run into a lot of issues with that. I'm very fundamentally based. I expect when you catch that ball, you're squaring up. You're triple threat to an extent, right? But you're squaring up. You're looking to be that scorer. You're jump stopping. I got that from my college coach. Even at the Division I college level, I mean, the first few weeks of our back to practice time was spent going back to the basics. And with that, it kind of levels the playing field. You know my expectations. I'm going to remind you of them throughout the year, but this is what we need to do. And then we'll kind of progress into the plays and the kind of the nuances of the game. But I haven't run into it. I'm grateful for the players that I have had over these past 4 years. And, I think the program hopefully is going in the right direction. So. Yeah.
Specific to this year's team, who are you going to lean on? What are you thinking about the team?
Yeah, so I have 5 seniors, which is awesome to have 5 really, seniors that have been with me now multiple years. Hannah Martin is our point guard. She's congratulations to her. She's committed to Smith College to play next year, which is awesome. She's well deserving. She's our point guard, and a captain. So leaning heavily on her to lead the team, and we've really worked on becoming a floor leader, and not just someone that needs to score all the time, but a point guard who can lead the team beyond just scoring. And she's really developed into a really wonderful player.
I refereed her this weekend in the Powder Puff game.
Oh, you did? What position did she play?
She played wherever they needed her.
Yeah, and I'm sure she did amazing.
She did.
She's a great athlete. Yeah. And then we have Jackie Rogers, who is our other senior captain.
Another good Powder Puff player.
I'm sure she was, yeah. And, she I believe, is choosing not to play in college. I think she could have at some point, but, I'm so proud of her for being aware of kind of what she wants out of that college experience. And so, she's going to be obviously another player on my team that we lean heavily on. She's a great leader, for the younger kids. And then we have Nahal Berard and Emily Rondo and Margaret Fallon. There are 3 other seniors who have really worked hard over these past couple of years to get to this level, and it really shows. I'm really excited to have them in this senior group, so I'm looking forward to having them. Then we got the other 3 returning varsity players, are Janie Papel and Avery Brown. They're juniors. And then we got Sydney Rogers, who's Jackie's younger sister. She's a sophomore, and she's going to be a pretty successful player over the next few years. So really looking forward to seeing where we can go.
Great. What about your coaches? Shout out for your coaches.
Bridget Haggerty's been there longer than I have. Bridget's awesome. We played against each other in high school, actually. So she went to Central Catholic, and I was at Westford, and I hear about it all the time. We might have beat them or something. I don't know, something like
Phenomenal tweeter, by the way. I think she was the North Andover softball tweeter.
She is the North Andover softball tweeter, and because she did such a great job last year, she got the job. Yep, I hired her last year for tweeting. She's amazing.
Bridget Haggerty?
Oh, yeah. Bridget. Oh, yeah.
Bridget, yeah.
She's very, very clever, funny, really great follow on Twitter for North Andover softball.
Amazing, and for our basketball program.
I need to get on her radar to promote the freshman team.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then Caitlin Enright, she came on the same year that I did, and she coaches 3 different sports at the high school, and she's a math teacher at the high school. So she really has a great rapport with the high school students, which I think is so very important, given the fact that I am not in the building. I work at West Middle School in Andover as a social worker, so I'm living in Andover country, but being able to have someone in the building is so important. Just to connect with the kids, and if there's a quick something that we need, she can communicate with them or whatnot. So I really have a great staff.
Great. Yeah. Any assistant varsity coaches, or are you on your own out there?
I lean on I have some other people kind of come in every so often, but at this point it's me and Bridget and Enright. Yeah.
Good.
All right. Do you have any problems with those referees, by the way?
So I try to build a good relationship with each of the referees, knowing that I was a referee. I have some confidence in my ability to kind of see the play as it kind of happens, but I also know that refs can make a mistake, and because I did,
Oh, absolutely.
But I like to have fun. That's part of it, is having fun, and when I do need to raise my voice slightly, hopefully it can be a good back and forth.
Right. Well, clearly there's effective ways to do it.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
You know, when you were a ref,
Yeah.
who the coaches were you could work with. And
Absolutely. You kind of want to stay on the other side of the court. Yeah.
Oh, actually, that raises
Yeah.
another question. With
Sure.
basketball being such an intimate sport,
Yeah.
Where you're so close to everybody that
Yeah.
the fans are right there on top of the court. They're on top of the players. They're on top of you. Do you ever have parent problems?
Do I ever have parent problems?
Or fan? Let's
Fan
just generalize
problems.
Fan problems.
I gotta, nothing super negative. And with that being said, we went to Drake It last year, and it wasn't negative, but it was, they had a great home fan base. I was jealous, and it really impacted the game. It, in a positive way for Drake It, not for us. But negativity, I try to help our players manage that, and not let it affect them, because obviously in some cases other fans are going to be calling out and saying things that aren't super encouraging.
Correct.
But how do you manage that as a player, not only on the court but then just as a person, as a human being? How do we manage those kind of things? And maybe that has to do with my social work background. I don't know. It's really a lot that goes into kind of that mental aspect of the game, but I can't say that we've had too many negative problems, which is good. Yeah,
it is good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally.
So we want to get more people down to your games for sure. 'Cause
Absolutely.
I think, COVID's over, everyone.
It is.
Come out and catch some games. And
we got a great schedule. And another great thing is that the Commonwealth Christmas Classic or Holiday Classic is being played at Merrimack College this year, which is fantastic. Yeah. So I think that's a great take. I mean, going on that campus, it's
now
great.
What are the? I know they run alternate days, right, boys and girls?
Not this year, because they're using both Hamel Court and the Lawler Arena.
Yep.
They're playing. I think it's the 28th, 29th, and 27th, 28th, and 30th. Both boys and girls.
Great.
So
that'll be a great event.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and especially now where you can catch boys and girls.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's running side by side.
And,
so it's great.
AAA will have to tweet that out.
That's right.
Mr. Tweeter.
There you go.
So, Tesla, thank you so much for
my
joining
pleasure.
us,
Thanks.
and best of luck this season.
Yeah.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. Have a great season.
Thanks everyone for listening to the Nightly News Podcast. We'll see you next time.